Hello and welcome to this session where I shared earlier, in snippets where I said to be able to achieve search results just like Google search results, where you type in this instance, I have this data set of a list of countries here to my left, scroll down and I have the same list replicated here, but it's based on country name search. So if I say, let's go with the first country here, let's say Afghanistan, as I type AF, you see the list gets automatically filtered down, based on countries that have the characters AF to them, if we're to say ALG, Algeria, or to use my country, my home country, Nigeria, NIG, you know. So to achieve search results like this, I said I was going to share how we were going to achieve that, and that's what we'll be getting to right away. So I've duplicated this in another list, in another sheet rather, countries copy. And the first thing, to tell you the things behind it is a filter function, right? To understand the filter function, right? How to make the filter function a bit more dynamic. And then we're going to now look at the financing, to have it, give it this look. So let's start by entering the filter function. So we're just going to impute the filter function in this cell here, let's just put it in here, say cell I3. So the filter function, first to start off with, is that it's available for Office 365 users, and above. So if you're not using Office 365, you might not see this. It's available also on Excel online, but if you have this, you're using this version of Excel, then you will see the filter function or the filter formula. So it's equal to, consider equal to filter, so it filters a range or an array. Now, array, this of course is not for beginners, it's for people who are more conversant with the Excel application. So the array, like a range or a data set or even a table source, that you want to deal with. So here we can say now the array in the filter function, let me start with that, is what you want to return, what you want returned in your search. So if I say, if I select just the country names now, you see the array is B2 to B196. The next argument now is the include. Here you're specifying which what the search query should be. So if I say cell B2, I can repeat this, can just copy this here now. Say B2 to B196 and I say equal to, and I say Nigeria, my home country. The next argument said if empty. So if empty is to specify a value that should be returned if your search criteria, is not found. So I'm just going to say not found, not found, in literal text and hit enter. I hit enter to see, okay, I have an arrow here, just going to my not found. I didn't even close it properly. So I hit enter and it returns Nigeria. Now this may seem a bit straightforward. Now let's just take off Nigeria so we can see what happens if there's no country as Nigeria, and so I get not found. However, few things to pick out from in this is that here it's we're searching for the value. It's static. We're feeding it into the formula directly. And like I said, the array, it specifies what you want to return. So now if I should expand the array from just the column B to say C, where we have the capital, watch what happens when I hit enter and I make this a valid country here, Nigeria. We see Nigeria, Abuja, and if we scroll down, truly we can see that under Nigeria here we have Abuja. Okay, so if I were to expand it a bit further, that's now my array. I'm referring to my array, and I say D. I hit enter. I can see the currency. Okay, and if we scroll down to where we have Nigeria, we have Nigeria here. You can see Abuja, Naira. And the continent, saying here Africa. So however, this is static. You don't always get to specify the value. the value where you want to search by. That would be like each time someone has to come into the formula bar to edit it, you could automatically just set it to a cell value. That would give more dynamism to it. So now to cell value, I just take this off and I just say let it be the value in, say, cell H1, right? H1 or say H2, your preference. I'm just going to say H1 first. Now I see not found because there's nothing in H1. So if I type in Nigeria in H1, I can see the value returned here. If I type in what you can see here now, Algeria, right? I'm saying it, Algeria, Algiers, currency is dinar, and if I had extended my filter array to column E to involve the continent, I would see that continent bit also included. And now you can see the continent bit also displayed here. You can test it out with a couple of countries you want to try out, excuse me. I'm just going to say Baharian here, right? Please forgive me if I didn't pronounce that correctly. And we can see it here, Baharian. You can see it has the Manama, currency, the continent being Asia. It's all displayed here. You can adjust to the width to also accommodate the content of the cell. Now this, it's more dynamic because here on you can just simply type in, type in the cells, or you can have drop downs, to really buttress your point. Now it's still nothing like this, okay? Because here with this, we're not even having to type the full values. We're just mainly starting to type it out and we're already getting instant results. Okay. Now, one thing difference here is that this is not looking for the exact match, it's looking for something close to it. So even if I were to say AUS. So AUS, there's Australia, there's Austria. So it gives this. That's why when I go NIG, there's Niger or Niger, Republic of Niger, and there's Nigeria. Now, bringing it this way here now, what can we do to make this also dynamic, so that it's not just static to literal values, that it must be an exact match? Sorry, to not make it an exact match is a way of manipulating the filter function to accommodate wildcards. Okay, to manipulate this, what you do is you're mainly going to be playing with this include parameter in the filter function. Okay, that's what you're going to be playing with, the include parameter. And to do that, you're going to use two functions. You're going to use the search function and is number function. Okay, so now let's say is number. Now the is number, we know it mainly checks to see if a value returns true or false. Okay, and then it connects. So now the value for the is number is where we're going to impute our search function. So in this search here now, we're going to say find, the value here already, this value here. I'm looking at the search parameters here and says within what text here now, within what text, and we're just going to say within this column where we have our country name. The other argument is optional, so we're going to skip that and we're going to close the is number value and hit enter. Now, in having done that, we don't have to type the full value of the country. Merely saying BAH, and I hit enter, I can see values returned for me, right? If I say NIG and I hit enter, I see values returned for me. Now we're getting close to what we have here. So now let's talk. Let's try to see how we can get this. These are mainly shapes, shapes that I just imputed in here. And one of the first things I'm just going to do is to use my developer tab to insert a search box. If you don't have the developer tab, simply go to the file, or you can come down here, say more commands, and more commands, you select all commands here, all commands, so you can just enable the developer ribbon, in your bit there, developer tab in your bit there, so it all just comes in. Okay, So you just do that on your own, once developer tab is in there. And sorry, not there, just from here rather, developer tab, so you just include, send the developer tab in here. Mine is already in, so no need for me to go over that. Now from the developer tab, I'm going to insert a text box. Okay, so you have different elements that you can input in your file. So you just hover them, you see text box here. So I click on text box, and now I can just drag it, like to draw my text box. My text box is drawn, right? Now I'm in design mode. One of the things you want to do is that you want to set the value of the text box, right, to H1, to link it to H1. So I'm just going to right click here, say properties. There are other ways to do this manipulation. Here I'm just going to scroll to link cell, right? I'm going to set it to H1, set it to H1, and hit enter and just close that, right? Now it's still in design mode. Now you see, if I click out of design mode and now I come here, I'm typing my values, and you're seeing that as I'm typing it, it's reflecting in H1. And automatically, as I'm typing my values, you can see that our filter function is also taking effect. Okay, it's also taking effect. All right, now quickly, we're still not done. I'm just going to put in something here so that it just returns not found. Okay, and I want to do something about this H1. I want to do something about this H1. I don't want it to be visible, so I want it. I'm just going to, yeah, of course, we know there are different ways to achieve this, right? So I'm just going to use this custom number format to make it blank. Next, I want to insert an icon here. Now, I want to set an icon here. So I'm just going to go with insert tab, illustrations, or if you have an icon already on your computer, all right, you can just simply load that up. Luckily, I think I do have one, so I'm just going to say Windows dot, Windows shortcut key, Windows dot to pop up emojis on your system, right? And here I'm just going to scroll down to look for a search icon. If I do not find one, if I can't find one, I'm going to what? Uh, how can I find one? Let me see. I think I've used one recently. Okay, let me just let's share from here. Right. Let's share from here to just the goal here. What I'm trying to do here is to just get um that search icon, a binocular lens. It's all subjective based on what you want. So I'm just going to type search, hit enter, and I'm seeing different lenses. I'm just going to go with this for this illustration. It pops up here, right? And maybe rotate it, you know, just rotate it this way. And this here, I'm going to reduce the size a bit so it's not too big. Reduce the size a bit. Uh, Still want that reduction wants to be wide, reduced. Um, and next, I'm going to place a box. Now there are different ways you could just play around to get this box. I'm just going to put a rectangular box with rounded corners, right, over this here, and no fill. I'm going to give it some thick borders, okay, and I can still click through, right? I can still click through to do what I want. I'm going to close this up a bit, still reduce the size of this guy, still reduce the size of this guy, and it's coming together. So if I have to type America, so AMER. Cameroon also has AMER in its spelling, as well as the United States of America. All right. So the formula is really coming in. It's really coming in. So what do I need to do next? Rather I would rather just move this formula down so that there's space here. Now to make it still appear as this guy, so what am I going to do? I'm going to copy the headers of this country here like so, and just place them above like so here. So now it's popping up properly. And then I also have numberings here, serial numberings. Okay, so I use the formula to get these serial numberings, where based on the fact that as there are values inbound, as long as there are values in the cell, it should. So I combine the sequence function and the count like counting blank function. So see sequence and count a function here. So here I'm just going to leave you to play around with this, see how you can mimic what I have achieved on your own and then add more functionalities. I'm going to give you a quick tip as to how I was able to automatically add borders here. It's conditional formatting. So try it out and let me know your thoughts, what you could come about with, perhaps you came up with something even nicer and better. I can't wait to hear your reviews and your comments. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye for now.